or something.
Welcome to another week of the Gen X Guys with JD and Len.
Hey.
Good to see you, Len.
Good to see you.
At
Not
least-
gonna lie, back to our little trips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I got questions about your trip specifically because I saw some videos going to about that event in general, the scale and the amount of people that were there.
Dude, it was nuts.
So just real quick.
So-
So welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a good 4th of July. It's our new episode 99. Actually, we are
99.
one away from the 100th.
Woohoo!
Super exciting. And of course, it's after 4th of July where we both had some trips. So
Yep.
Len went to Anime Con in LA.
Anime
And what's that?
Expo. Anime Expo.
Whatever, it's Anime Con. And place was just ridiculously packed based on what I've seen videos. Some people were just saying it was just crazy filled. So what was your experience? How was it? How was your experience?
No, overall it was fun. So we went. It was like the first trip we've done with just my core family, my wife, my 3 sons, and myself. So we haven't
Nice.
done a trip like that of just us in a little while. So it was actually cool to just be us. But yeah, so we went to Anime Expo, which is absolutely huge. I mean, it's mainly focused on anime type stuff, but it's Japanese culture and some Asian culture, intertwined. But 80% of it is based around, if not more. Actually, even like the video game stuff is all even based around anime. So, and my family is all into anime. My wife, actually, when I first met her, this was back in 95, I want to say. Even before that, she was going to Japantown in San Francisco to Japan Video, which is sadly no longer open, to rent VHSs of anime. So she's been into anime since the 90s, early 90s. I think actually late 80s, I think, when she first started going there. And my sons are, especially my oldest, he's really, really big into it. But anyway, so yeah, it was huge though. I mean, it was at the LA Convention Center, spanned across all the other areas of the LA Convention Center. But yeah, there were obscene amount of people there, especially on Saturday. Saturday was absolutely chaos. It wasn't like that bad where you couldn't get around or anything like that. It was just everywhere you turned, there were a lot of people. But yeah, it was definitely full. I mean, it was definitely extremely crowded. We also didn't try to get there right when it opened, like some people do. I think that's where when you see a lot of the chaos ones, it's the people who are there right beforehand, and it's just a total bottleneck of people trying to get in.
Right.
So, but I mean, regardless, it was totally full, and no matter where you went, and there was just a lot of stuff there. Like if you're into anime, it's definitely a place to be. Everybody was cosplaying. Overall, it was a good experience.
Did you cosplay? Everybody wants to know. Did you guys cosplay?
Everybody wanted to know that. No, I didn't. My middle son did. He did a combination of Luffy and Spider-Man.
Well, I expect your middle son to do it because he does it all the time. He's a big fan of specific shows too.
Yeah.
And so he likes to dress up, which is good.
Yeah.
At least he's not afraid to. I mean, so obviously at Anime Expo,
He's not afraid to express his inner.
Yeah, he's not afraid to dress up and have fun. Okay. You boring bastard. All right.
Actually, no, we're trying to figure out next year what we could do. So one of my wife's favorite.
Why don't you go as the panda and she can go as Ranma?
Well, see, no, we were gonna say go. I was thinking we go as an older version of Ranma and Akane.
Yeah, it's true. You could do that.
Yeah, we could do that. But I wouldn't mind doing the panda. That'd be kind of funny.
I think it'd be more exciting if you were the panda or the father. But you don't want to be the father because that's your wife. So I get that. I agree.
Yeah. But
or you could be both versions of Ranma because obviously Ranma is both a boy and a girl.
Right. No, there's some suggestions that we have for next year.
Nice.
That would be nice to do. That I think we would ultimately do. But we're also thinking there is one that's on our bucket list that's really hard to go to, which is Comic-Con.
Oh yeah, out of San Diego.
Yep. We definitely want to do that one. That's
same.
But it's one of those ones where you have to try to get tickets the day of, because I think that's one issue. I mean, probably alluding to
What do you mean the day of?
anime.
No, you can get Comic-Con tickets way early.
Well, no. I meant day of them being released.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Okay.
you have to, because it sells out really quick, supposedly. So
It does. I've tried.
I think that's the issue with when it came to Anime Expo, is that they have to start limiting how many people go, because even when you were there, there had to be fire. I'm sure your son-in-law would know this, but there had to be fire code violations all over the place.
You think? Wait, so you think they oversold the expo and let too many people in?
No, that would never happen. Yeah, I mean, I do. I think at a certain point, when you look at, again, when you're at any place, because we did pretty much the whole thing. There were some things in this creators area that we really didn't see everything of, but if anything happened in there, it would be absolute. I mean, at any of these type of events. So I just wonder what the regulations would be, because it's pretty packed, and I'm sure that it's just, I had to wonder, like, where does it become a safety issue?
Well, I mean, any of these conventions, they do have to have a cap limit, so they're not just going to let everybody come in. That's why they do, because you had to buy tickets, right?
Yeah. Right.
So they know the count. They know what they can and can't sell through. It's like D23. I'll be going to Disney's big event in mid-August, actually, so about a month from now. And similar to like Comic-Con, actually not similar to Comic-Con itself as a beast, but the concept being that every 2 years Disney does this expo, and this expo is like a 3-day event, and everybody comes in. I mean, people are dressed up. There's all, everything's in there. It's usually at Anaheim Convention Center, right across from Disneyland, so it adds to that. But then they also have big nightly events as well. But it's huge. I mean, it sells out. So to your point, I had to get in the first day, and I've been in it before. I went 2 years ago, and I bought a 3-day ticket, which basically included all 3 days, and those were sold out like literally within the first 30 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Which was funny, because for that one in particular, I ended up looking at, so I had to buy each day individually, which was stupid. But that being said, because they didn't have for the 3-day, but you could still buy each day individually. I bought each day individually, but the best part was the night events, which is really what the 3-day ticket was about. I picked the exact same seat for each night. I'm like, so you clearly could sell me a 3-night event for the exact seat, but I think they limited that. But my point is, there's definitely a limit. Like, there's a number of tickets you can have, and so they definitely sell them out and cap it. So I think it's the same, but it'll be interesting to see who dresses up. I know my wife and I have also talked about Comic-Con would be fun to go to too. So we keep trying to get that. But those type of experiences are fun when you can go around, just especially if you're really into whatever the convention's about, whether it's anime or Disney or whatever. Just to see people who really put the effort into dressing up, because there's some really cool detailed costuming. Comic-Con's obviously the biggest when it comes to that, but it's a lot of fun. How was the weather, by the way, for you in LA?
Honestly, it was perfect. It was like one day was hot, but it was like 81. So at no point was it really, no point was uncomfortable. Let's just put it that way. Like, you would get hot like in the middle of the, I think Saturday was the hottest day at like 81, either Friday or Saturday, but one of the days was like that. But even then, it wasn't, holy shit, let's get out of the sun. It was like, oh, let's get some shade. So no, it was totally, the weather was perfect. But I think also, to your point, like, there's some other ones we want to do, like Comic-Con, because I think the one difference is that, like, for my wife and I, it's like, we know the older anime stuff, but like probably 80%.
Give examples of older anime so people know.
No, you're talking. I mean, there's like, for her it's Ranma, there's Kenshin, there's Demon Slayer. There's a lot of these ones that are maybe not old, but there's also this line, and she would know, like, she would definitely remember the names better than I would, but there's also this delineation that seems to happen when it comes to what's old anime, or at least from what I've heard from like my niece and some others, is that when it was hand drawn versus when it became computer drawn. Because now, all this
computer drawing started happening in the 90s. So
yeah. So that's what I mean. That's when we're talking about Gen X. When we talked about this numerous times, is we also remember seeing the animes on TV and that were from the 70s and 80s, and those were definitely all hand drawn. So when I started thinking about anime, for me, it was definitely being introduced to Ranma and some of the other ones from my wife, but it was also like the ones we talked about, like Star Blazers and Robotech and
Fucking
Macross.
Star
And all those.
Blaze is just fantastic.
The,
Great.
the opening of that, I didn't have to even watch the show, just the opening.
And that was late
was-
70s for that one.
That was definitely
I remember
70s,
seeing
yeah.
it. That's it on TV. Star Blaze fantastic. Then early 80s was Macross, the Robotech series saga, which was fantastic. And
So-
this is an anime, but Japanese was Translator Z or Mazinga Z in Japan. But
Right.
Translator Z was a huge show I loved watching.
Mhm.
It only lasted 2 years, which is a bummer.
True.
But yeah, there's some great stuff from the old stuff.
But, yeah, the other one we want to do is actually, we didn't do it this. We wanted to do it this year, but kind of conflicted with somebody's wedding. Your daughter's wedding was the player one in Vegas. Actually, that was actually really fun because I did that with my son last year, and it was more, I would say, almost Japanese or Asian culture versus anything in particular. It was centered around video games. And just again, the comic side of things. So it was a variety of things. So like half the stuff there I can recognize or relate to a little bit better. So
Wait, what couldn't you do because of the wedding for player one that you did
well,
before?
player one was the week after your daughter's wedding.
You're talking about the bar that we went to?
It was a player one. I don't know what's it called.
That's why you're confusing me, dude.
No, I know. No. I'm confused myself.
Yeah, you are. I know which one I think you're talking about, but I don't want to say it in case it's wrong.
Or One Up.
Yeah, there's the One Up Expo.
One Up. Yeah, One Up. Yeah, we went to player
I think
one.
it's One Up Expo.
Yeah.
Okay, so either way, yeah, there was something else that went on. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's something in Vegas,
Good
but
to know.
again, it's more like video game. Like there was actually one of the floors was just
It's Level Up
tournament
Expo, I
stuff.
think it is.
Level Up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just throwing words together.
You are.
But
Player
it was-
one, I'm like, dude, it's a bar. You can dress up anytime you want. They don't care. That's the whole purpose of it.
Yeah. But Level Up, that was actually really cool. So we want to actually plan on doing that next year.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very cool.
But definitely Comic-Con. But yeah, it was a good time, especially just being with the boys and hanging out. We had an Airbnb, so even just be us in the morning, getting up and having breakfast together was nice to do.
Did you tell your boys that as you were all sitting there for breakfast, just the five of you, this was probably the last time you'll ever sit together in this environment with just the five of you again?
Wow. No, because it won't be.
In that particular environment, probably was.
Like an Airbnb, you mean?
That specific Airbnb, wherever you had breakfast.
Okay, yeah, at that specific place, and yes, you're right, 100%.
I do this with my kids all the time. They hate it. Oh, that's a running joke now. But one time I did say that to them, that we were on a cruise or something. I go, you know what? Just so you guys know, this is the last time the five of us will be together in this place. And they're like, Jesus. And then they started to crack. They started to get it. And then they realized it's a running joke. It's more like in that particular moment in time, because it's going to pass. It's in the past. You won't be doing it again. So anyway.
Totally a dad joke. Basically a complete dad joke.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine.
And pull it
That makes
together.
sense.
So I'm going to ask you this. Let's kick it into the World Cup. I'm curious about.
You're not going to say how. Actually, really quick though, how was your cruise?
Oh yeah, my cruise was fantastic. So we went on the new Disney ship Destiny that launched late last year. I think late last year. It was a lot of fun. They had villains on it. So Loki's wandering around, which was fantastic. They had Cruella de Vil. Actually, that's probably it for villains that actually were on the ship. That Hook and Smee, but those are always villains that you get to see every cruise ship as part of the Pirate Night experience. But in general, from a villains theme standpoint, that was it. But they had Hercules Broadway show, fantastic. That was really well done. Overall, the experience was nice. We really enjoyed ourselves. The wife was still recovering, so we did a little slowly, but for the most part, everything went well. On the back of the ship, the character for the back of this ship is Spider-Man, which, as you know, I sent you a picture for your son.
Yeah. He enjoyed it.
If he ever's picking a ship to go on and it's Spider-Man focused, then that would be the one.
That'd be the one, definitely.
They also have a marble eatery where you sit down, and one of the nightly rotation, one of them is marble. So that also helps too. But it was fun. Yeah, the weather was good. The trip itself was nice. Never ran into any real heavy rain. Actually, the last day of the cruise, we were at the Disney's private island. Probably like 98 degrees. It was warm.
Oh wow.
With the humidity, it was 98 degrees. And we did some drinking games. They had trivia, movies, all these things. All these things you can do were a lot of fun. Actually, won in trivia in the Star Wars Ultimate Trivia. So got my little plastic medal from them, which is nice.
Very cool.
But it was cool. Yeah, we enjoyed it. It was good for 4th of July. That was my biggest interest, was like, what would they do differently for 4th of July that they don't do for normal cruises?
Right.
And they did fireworks on the 4th of July off the ship that night, which
That's
Disney's
really
the only one who does that. But they usually only do it on Pirate Night, but they did it that night. And then 2 nights later on Pirate Night, they actually did it as well. So, and we celebrated our 30th anniversary on the ship. So it was very nice. But yeah, it was a fun time. It was just the 2 of us. It's a little quieter when it's just 2 of us, because you just not much to really focus. You know, you don't have to worry about everybody else,
right.
Which is good. But at the same time, not having everybody else, as we both realize, is like, it's sometimes fun to have the bigger group because you make it more enjoyable from an interactivity standpoint on a lot of the stuff they have there. So
right.
It was good. You know, it's a fun trip.
Very cool.
All right. Let's switch to World Cup, because I know you're a big fan. Let me just ask you this. Did you even watch the U.S. teams ever play?
Yeah, I did.
Did you watch them lose to Belgium?
Yes, I did.
Was that the first time you watched?
No, it was
So you watched all their U.S. games, or you followed mostly U.S. matches. Got it.
I wouldn't say for any of them that I watched it from beginning to end. I had it on and I was aware and watching a lot of it, but I was doing other things. Just to be being perfectly honest, but I had it on, so I was part of viewership.
So, are you ever watching any? Did you watch the full match, or are you just kind of following?
Just following, yeah.
Yeah, you're just following, which is fair. That's a lot of people, which is why with the U.S. being out, that hurts a little bit locally, at least.
Right. The drop
ticket sales. Yeah. That's true in every country. Well, not every country. Some countries, they know they have no chance, and the excitement is just the experience itself. Here in the U.S., we're front runners. If our teams are out, we don't care anymore.
100%.
For casual fans specifically, not for diehard football fans.
Well, yeah, if you're a soccer, yeah. It's gonna be totally different.
Yeah, like for me, I watch every match, and I'm watching, like today while we're recording this. There's big games coming on. England against Norway, which should be a really fun one to watch, which is at 2 Pacific time.
Right.
And then later on this evening is Argentina against Switzerland, which is Lionel Messi's game for Argentina.
I need to ask you. What do you think about the whole conspiracy theory about Argentina and wanting Messi to be in the quarterfinals?
Oh, the Egyptian coach?
Yeah. I mean, all of that. I mean, again, not being very well versed and really understanding it, specifics of the rules and everything. I mean, yeah, they came back from 2-0, right? But was it? What's your take on it? What was it? Was it fair? Was there bias in it? Because there's definitely is. I mean, there's been I've known of bias in soccer matches, especially international, for years. Especially when you have different countries representing, they're going to have, unfortunately, biases just because it's how they are. Which is how the world is. Let's just say it's not the U.S. People act like we have like the monopoly on racial issues, but it's everywhere around the world, right?
Sure.
What's your take, though? I mean, the whole Argentina thing, because it's been. Did the refs help them? Was there something going on besides just football, besides just the sports that you noticed?
Yeah, I mean, this happens every World Cup. I mean, we can use Argentina experience. So, a couple things. FIFA generally has a reffing crew that is not related to the countries playing, right? So it's not like they have an Argentine staff of refs who ref the France game recently, or they have Spanish or Egyptian or American or whatever it is. They definitely bring in a mix of different country referees who do the big games. So, No, I don't think there was any conspiracy. I think any team that loses, there's always something that happened along the way that they're not happy with, and so they bitch about it and say, "Hey, you totally didn't call this when you should have." Or there have been obvious, and this is throughout the whole World Cup. There have been moments where you're like, "That probably should have been a foul. Why didn't they call it?" Or they call a little ticky tack foul, which probably shouldn't have been a foul, and still it was given anyway. So, the problem with soccer is that everybody goes down hurt from one little touch every time.
Of course.
They and that's what I've liked about this World Cup is many of, and I don't know if FIFA has directed this. I think for many who've watched, have seen that refs are generally just saying play through it. Like they are getting bumped off, and so some of these players are just expecting they should get a call, and they're not, and they're just laying on the floor. I love when they just lay there for like 20 seconds while the game's still going on around them, and then suddenly they're up and running full speed. It's like, oh, well, I guess you were fine. So I think
it just shows. It shows that they're playing it up. They're acting.
And that's why I think FIFA's like, don't fall for all this. So were there probably like coming back to your question about is Argentina getting the benefit of the doubt? No, I don't think so. I mean, I won't lie. I'm sure there's some sort of star power related to Messi that
of course.
if something close comes in, maybe they think about it because he's not one to generally just fall down faking it. I mean, they all do some sort of embellishment, but generally, he's not one to really just kind of fake those. But no, I don't think so. I think it's the usual scenario, and this happens in NBA. I mean, we can even talk about the Cavs coach we talked about before, who said we were winning every game analytically, and yet they kept losing. And so every coach will always have their bitch about something going on in the field that's unfair and helping the other team. So it's no different. It's the same in every sport. There's always someone who's getting the benefit of the doubt because they're skewed. And like I said, there are some areas where, especially in the soccer world, where you're like, well, I probably should have called that. But the game moves so fast, and not every time the ref's in best position, and they will miss. Sometimes they miss badly, and with VAR, they can call down and help them. The VAR doesn't even suggest it's an issue, then it just moves on. So,
well, see, and that's kind of the part that when you kind of watch some of these things, and you see it in the NBA, and like you said, the NFL and all this. First of all, I think the star power thing is, or could it just be that Messi or a Tom Brady is just that good? It's not the star power. They're getting the benefit of the doubt from the refs, and the only reason why they're good is it's like kind of going back to the NFL. Like people would always bitch about like Brady getting the tuck rule, going way back. It's like he wasn't a star back then. You know that the Patriots weren't a star back then. So I think to your point, everybody wants to point to a reason or an excuse why these happen. I think the biggest complaints I've seen though have been around VAR, which I think is one of those things. I'm like, wait, okay, these didn't happen before VAR, or you're saying that VAR is wrong, or you're just unhappy with that you have an unbiased result that you can't really counter.
Yeah,
some of these offside calls are very, very.
Oh my God. This is the worst. FIFA has got the worst rule on that. I know the Premier League has been working to change their rules around offside, but you're right. There was one match, and I can't remember the exact match. Guy scores. They go back and review. He gets called for an offside because the tip of his toe, based on their imaginary line, was ahead of it.
Right.
Or there was one where Ronaldo scored, and all he was leaning his head and shoulder forward, and they called him for offside. That if there's anything I'm going to complain most about it, VAR itself is selective, but that offside rule is just ridiculously stupid.
But see, I think that's the thing that people are bitching about incorrectly is, okay, let me ask you a question. Did he break? Is it still a foul? Does it matter that he had, his earlobe past the line? That's what they call an offside, right? So then technically it doesn't matter if it's an inch. Like if the rule is he has to have 20% of his body past the line, and then that's fine. But the rule isn't that. The rule is any part of his body past the line is an offside, and that's what I've seen. And I'm like, so what is there to complain about?
No, it's yeah. I mean, it's a complaint fans have all the time because they all disagree with the offside.
But blaming VAR and everything like that is like, all right. Well, then have them change the rule.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, and it's funny you bring this up because you would think like American fans always get bitchy about everything against our teams, right? But it's true worldwide. Like this is a great example of how pissed a lot of fans get or frustrated or whatnot because, to your point, VAR calls this guy with the tip of his toe offside, which had no impact on him scoring the goal or gave him no real advantage. No real advantage. But they don't look at it from that perspective, and the rules are pretty straightforward. And they've been consistently horrible in the sense, like I don't think there should be offside, but you're right, it's consistent. So if it's consistent, and that's how they've structured it, which needs to change. I can't emphasize that enough. That needs to change.
I'm not saying no either.
But yeah, you're right. They're going to complain. But it's no different than handballs. Someone think a handball should have been called or something else. But there's a lot of little things that can happen in a match. But and because it's such a tightly contested match for all these matches, actually, except the US, who got beat the crap out of it because we didn't show up.
Totally.
Every other match has been close throughout these whole playoff run, where it's the single elimination games now.
It's been good.
Yeah. They've all been great, literally except for the U.S. match.
What do you think happened there? Because, I mean, there was the controversy about the red card, which I'm not trying to be biased as being a fan of the U.S., of course, but I'm like, if they're correcting something that was called incorrectly, whether there was a precedent or not, if maybe they should, why isn't, again, going back to that should be a rule then. So they can reverse a red card. They just don't do it. But if they reverse it because it was called incorrectly, it just seemed like, I don't know. I'm not sure where some of these, but like you said, I think it just comes down to everybody wants to complain when it's against their team.
Well,
like Belgium coach saying that, that they shouldn't do it. It's a stain. And it's like, okay, so you're not being biased. It's kind of hard when you're directly benefiting from if they upheld it. So,
well, let's take it from perspective on that too. Like if it was any other team, they would have done the exact same thing. They would have seen if they felt their player was wrongly red carded. Like if we take a look at the game where he got red carded in fast motion, yes, they were both jumping towards it, and he's coming down, and his foot catches the guy's ankle. Okay. Generally, so first rule, my understanding was that VAR shouldn't have even been able to call that down as a red card because apparently that's just something they're not supposed to get involved in. So they got involved, which is a problem. And then the ref took a look and decided to red card him. Okay, he's out. And then, of course, apparently Trump reaches out to the head of FIFA, says, take a look at it. The reason why a lot of people complain, and even as a fan, both from a U.S. perspective, but just from a overall soccer review, I was on the fence both ways. Like, for one part of me, it's like, this is great, we get him back. The other part was me like, yeah, but this is also bad because it's setting a precedent that didn't exist. Like, FIFA doesn't allow you to go out and appeal. Like, once it's done, it's done. Once you get a red card in a match and the game is over, that's it. There's no appeal process. There's no way to overturn it. So the fact that this actually happened was way outside precedent, which is why so many people got so upset about it because this has never happened for FIFA, that they've done this.
Maybe there's something that I don't understand as a casual was it really overturning the red card? Or, I mean, wasn't the whole issue more about the suspension rather than the red card?
What do you mean by suspension? Every red card, automatically you miss the next match.
Right. So,
that's
I mean,
consistent.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So it's more the fact that you can't have the red card still be upheld if you don't have the suspension.
Well, what they did was they suspended the red card, basically, is what FIFA came back with. And they said it's an independent group that's always looking over everything, which nobody believes because this has never happened before. The only other precedent prior to that was when Ronaldo, during qualifiers heading into the World Cup, so nation qualifiers when you're qualifying to get into the World Cup type of thing, he had gotten a red card or something with a 3-game ban, some issue with that. And
oh, wow.
I think, and this also, if I remember the story correctly, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, but basically either Trump had made comments about, and to, again, the head of FIFA, that doesn't make sense to have your stars out this long. And so they only they reduced it from 3 to 1. And so that's probably the only other precedent where something was changed. But Look, whether the call itself during the match was good or bad, like it was a bad call. He should not have been red card. I think everybody agreed, even before it was overturned later on. That's the funny thing. Everybody agreed across all of international that, that was a ridiculous red card, never should have been called, announcers, everything. But the minute it was overturned, that's when people started saying it was less about the player, even less about Team USA. It's more about the fact that FIFA was setting a precedent, which now
What's wrong with
England's
that?
without a
I mean,
player for 2 games. Why can't they get that overturned? They feel it was
no.
incorrectly
And,
done.
well, I guess that's the whole point that I'm asking. Is like they corrected something as egregious as being suspended. I guess as somebody, again, the casual, this isn't overturning roughing the passer penalty. This isn't overturning some major penalty or trying to change the outcome of a game. The issue is that the red card means he's being suspended. That's not a 15-yard penalty or free kick type thing. That's taking a player out. It doesn't matter if it's the best player or not, out from the next game entirely. That's
Correct.
not just a penalty. It's a suspension. It's huge. And so I guess I'm missing why having an appeal process for something as big as that, just because, oh, well, they've never done it before. It's just, I'm sorry, you hear that in all sports, especially like in American baseball, is, oh, well, we never do that. There's tradition. It's stupid. If you can't overturn a suspension that he didn't deserve, I mean, to me, that just seems. I don't understand the logic in not being able to turn a suspension. Look, England may not agree with it. Fine, they go to an appeals thing. That's a panel of, a panel of 10.
I think
Come
that's
up
the
with.
part you're missing, right? You keep saying appeals. There is no appeal process. That's my point. FIFA doesn't allow an appeal process. So none of that exists. So basically, once it's done, it's done. There was no process. There's no committee set up. There's nothing set up. That's why this was so unprecedented, because there was no appeal process. You can't go through anything to try and fight it. Like, they literally came out on their own and said, hey, you know what? We're just going to turn it over, without any legitimate way that could be done outside of Trump asking the head of FIFA to take a look. And then, of course, that set off the firestorm of people. So that's the problem. It's less about if there was an appeal process. Yeah, you're right. Nobody would complain. If it gets through, it gets through. And you're right. There could be an appeal. But FIFA doesn't allow that. They just don't. It's
They don't
done.
allow it, or there's just
They don't do it. They have
isn't
nothing set up for it at all. Like, they don't have a process in place. There's no way for you to appeal. None of this. Like, that just doesn't exist. And so, and in the end, it didn't matter. US showed up. They now have their player back, their striker, and what do? They play like a tentative team that's never played before because they're scared and got beat the crap out of 4-1, which is unfortunate because they were a good team. But I don't know why the mindset changed. That maybe the moment was just too big for them, but they legitimately looked scared playing out there, all of them. And I know there's been a lot of complaints more on Pulisic's part about being an absent superstar type thing. But realistically, when you have that many people on the field, it's never one. It's like basketball, right? It's like there's 5 men on the court on each team, or football. Again, same thing, even for actual American football, more specifically. It's the same thing. Everybody has a part to play. And if you're not all doing well, then you're going to lose. And that's exactly what happened with Team USA as a whole. I mean, the goalie coming out and basically dicking around.
I
get what he's trying to do, but when you're that far out of the box, kick the goddamn ball away. And he thought about it, stopped, and then he thought he would pass it back to where a Belgian player was. And that just went sideways fast. So mentally, they were all screwed. To the goalie, to the strikers, all of them. It was just a bad game in general and a horrible time to fall apart when they were playing so well throughout the tournament. So it is what it is. But
I think to your point, to not even be somewhat competitive was disappointing.
Yeah, that's the sad part. I'm literally on the cruise trying to watch this match, and just total disappointment to watch that.
Yeah.
Which was horrible. By the way, the sports bar that they had, every match was just packed in there. Our games from Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, England, any one of them. It was just crazy how packed those were. And watching Brazil lose to Norway, that was a hard stopper for a lot of people. So
yeah. Well, what's his name? I don't remember his name, but Norway's been like
Holland. Holland.
Yeah.
He's a Viking god, dude.
I know. He's been like a celebrity.
He
even
is.
though
He's a
okay,
celebrity here in America. Yeah.
even though there's some things about saying that, yeah, he could be a dominant NFL tight end. It's like,
Eh,
let's pump the brakes there. I'm not, there are plenty of amazing athletes who try to make it in the NFL. You see through the combine, make him look like, nothing, but can't play football, American football. They don't have the ability to. So,
Yeah.
but no. I don't want to take away from him because I mean, he also one other thing I've also seen a lot of is his clips as a person in general, like of dealing with like kids and other people out there. So he also seems like a really
Yeah.
good person.
They all have a lot of fun. They're all really good with a lot of the fans, but and he's fun to watch. He's just fun to watch because you think this kid, this giant guy, comes running down against teams that are smaller, and you're like, this giant Norwegian man is running at you. Basically, you think of Viking. That's why it's kind of funny. Even Norway against England. It's like, here we go. The Vikings are invading England, right? Like, you play off those little things because it's just fun. But he's been honest though. He's like, we're still like the lowest. We have the least chance to win this whole thing. Like, he doesn't overstate what their team is capable of. But some ways, I think he's doing that too. It just keeps them loose because then they're like, well, we're just playing. At this point, everything's just added value for us. Yeah, exactly. House money. So I'm excited. That'll be a great game today. I'm looking forward to that.
In other words, the opposite of the U.S.
Yeah,
kind of the opposite.
Well, and that just goes to show our mentality as well, but that's a different discussion. Although, in all fairness, a few World Cups ago in the third place game, Brazil got destroyed, or the semifinal. Brazil had lost like 7-1 to Germany when Germany won that World Cup that year. So you can't say it happened. I mean, and Brazil is one of the dominant countries out there. So it happens. It's just disappointing that it happened. That's all. I mean, the fact they came out and played like that was just disappointing. I don't know why, but it is what it is. It's over. I moved on from them. So I had no choice. They moved on.
With that said, all that said, what are your predictions?
So the final right now we have France against Spain, and as part of one of the two teams or the two teams that are facing in half of the final four. Today's big games, we got Norway and England and France or Argentina against Switzerland. So for the first game, I really want Norway to win. I think it'd be fantastic. I'd love to see Holland just somehow pull off a miracle run in this World Cup. But I'm going to go with England just because I feel like they're a better, well-rounded and deeper team. But they have played they've been a little slow to get going, and they have some holes sometimes where Holland, it's like basically Holland plays in the Premier League. So a lot of these English players play in the Premier League as well. The styles are similar. So he should do well. I think it'll be close. It could end up going to over extra time, maybe a shootout. But I think England will still win this one. And then Argentina against Switzerland. That's an interesting one. Argentina is also another one that seems to have started slow a couple times more recently. I don't know why. I still think they're better than Switzerland. So I think England will probably face Argentina on the other half. And I think it'll be more than likely France against England in the final. That's where I think this might go.
That'd be interesting.
It would be if I'm right too. But I would say France versus England. And then I want to say France is going to win it. They've just continued to look good in most of their matches, other than the one they won 1-0 off a PK. They've generally been aggressive, great attacking. So I'd say France is the favorite to win the whole thing at this point. But I can see a France-England final, and then France will probably pull it off. Yep.
That's probably the safe. I think that's pretty safe to say, especially with France winning it all.
Well, yeah, if you look at how the games have gone, you just kind of play based on how they've looked. Right. And yeah, France has just looked better. And the U.S. would have had to have faced France also had they ended up winning past Belgium. They would have had to beat Spain. Then they say they beat Spain, and they'd be facing France. So, I mean, the road to the U.S. even coming close to getting to the final was only getting tougher.
Cinderella.
Yeah.
Definitely would have been Cinderella story.
Oh, yeah. Now we're talking about 1980s U.S. hockey at that point. So.
I was just thinking about that. Everybody thinks that them beating Russia was only for bronze.
Well, beating Russia was just to get to the gold medal
Yeah,
match.
get to the gold medal. Yeah.
Where they had to beat Finland, I think it was, if I remember correctly. I can't remember. But yeah. All right. That's our World Cup discussion. Good conversation there. Let me switch it up.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm gonna switch it up. We're gonna go into Let's Quiz Len.
I gotta come on next week. Next week, I had to get something for you next week.
You have nothing, so I'm gonna do it because we're gonna quiz Len, and let's just do a quick little rock intro for this one. All right, here we go.
All right,
let's quiz Len. Again, it's 1980s. I always stick with the 80s. I'm trying not to screw you over too much. Specifically, since we're Gen X, we should only talk about 70s and 80s personally, but 80s is our main decade. So we're going to start easy. So I'm gonna start easy. I'm going to give you, well, I may give you multiple choice. I think you should know this right off the bat. I'm not going to actually give you multiple choice. And if you don't, you just suck. So we'll just be honest. In Back to the Future, what speed does the DeLorean need to reach to travel through time?
Oh, shit. Is it 78? Right.
No. 88 miles per hour.
88. I wanted to say 88.
Well, you didn't, so you're wrong.
I know. In my head, I had it. I said 88. I'm like, God, that just seems too fast for a DeLorean. They weren't exactly fast.
No, but he had hit that 88.
I knew it was 88. Fuck, I'm a dumbass. I went with 87 because I thought it sounded better.
You went with 78. What are you talking about? You were 10 miles slower.
That's what I meant. I took off 10 miles because I thought 88 seemed too fast.
Fuck. It's never too fast. It's too slow for me on Highway 5. All right.
That's true. But
this is
what, like 1985, whenever it came out? 84?
Back to the Future? Yeah, I believe it was 85.
Yeah.
All right. What is the name of the skyscraper taken over by terrorists in Die Hard?
Nakatomi.
There we go. Nakatomi what?
Tower?
Plaza.
Nakatomi Plaza, yeah. I had to guess on that.
It's fine. I'll give you that. Nakatomi is fine. And you know it immediately. So.
Yeah.
All right. In the Breakfast Club, how many students spent Saturday in detention?
5?
Great. Good job. See, didn't even give you multiple choice. That's fantastic. These are all multiple choice too. But
I was actually thinking about when you asked that, I was thinking because it was 2, 2, and 1, how they were sitting.
Yes, exactly. So, all right. Another one. This one's easy. Who plays the naval aviator Maverick in Top Gun?
Really? I'm not answering.
Just answer the question. Answer the question.
No, that's insulting.
Answer your question.
No.
It's a question, and why don't you answer it?
It's just no.
So you got it wrong then. You suck.
I got it wrong. Who is it? Because, not knowing who the aviator
No, I'm not going to tell you since you don't want to guess. You're not going to get it. Instead, you're going to get this.
Now the audience is going to be pissed off. And now the audience, the donger.
What's that?
Now the audience is going to be pissed off that you.
Who because Maverick, the movie, came out in the last 10 years. I'm sure they know who the actor is.
I think anybody would take any time to listen to us knows who fucking the actor is. Period.
Yep.
Well before that. That's why I'm not answering the question. Fuck you.
All right, fine. Okay. Here's another one. All right. Name the supporting characters from these movies.
Oh, supporting characters.
We'll start. Yeah. So here's one. What is the name of Indiana Jones' young companion in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? I can give you an example. I'll give you this ones for these. There's Tiny.
No.
Little Dragon.
No.
Short Round.
Short
Data.
Round. Short Round. Data. Exactly. Data is who he is in a different movie.
Yeah. Short Round. Good job. There you go. In Coming to America, what is the name of Prince Akeem's loyal friend?
Is it Remy? Remy?
No, it's not. No. You want the suggestions?
Yeah.
Or are you going to go with that? You're going to stick with that. Cleo, Clarence, Semi, Maurice.
Semi, not Remy.
Okay. I knew you were thinking of it, but clearly.
Yeah, clearly. I was hearing it in Eddie Murphy's voice, but not, yeah.
There you go. All right. This one's going to be tough for you. I almost believe you're never going to get this one, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Who owns the house where the characters gather in the movie The Big Chill?
I don't know.
Do you even know what the movie The Big Chill is?
I remember The Big Chill. I don't remember the last time I've seen
All right,
it.
well, let me give you the options, and you can just
It's
pick
probably
one.
been honestly the 90s since I've seen it.
Okay. Well, here's the names. There's Sam and Karen, Michael and Chloe, Harold and Sarah, Nick and Meg.
Harold and Sarah.
Sweet, dude. Good.
Did I get it right?
That's fantastic. Good guess. Always go see. If you don't know, go see.
Yeah. It's kind of what I did. But no, I don't think I've seen that movie since like the 90s. Since like a VHS
I've seen it more recently. I think.
blockbuster.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. I probably haven't seen that in a long time either.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I've seen it.
All right.
I barely remember what it's about. Anyway, go
That's
ahead.
a good point. I don't think I remember what that one's about either. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you guessed right. That's important. So there we go.
That
All
makes
right.
up for the Maverick thing.
Yeah, it does because you won't give the name. All right. What is the name of the groundskeeper played by Bill Murray in Caddyshack?
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Do you know it? All right. I'll give you the names.
I don't know. I don't know if I. But
Judge Smales, Carl Spackler,
Carl.
Al Cervic, and Ty Webb.
Carl.
Yep, you're right. It is Carl.
That's honestly one of those where you're right. Like for that one specifically, I would never have remembered the name or even come close to, like the Semi and Remy, like that I remember because I've seen that movie so many times. And even though I've seen Caddyshack, I don't think I would remember his name was Carl at any point or even come close to it. But right when you said it, I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's it.
They don't. He doesn't. I don't think. I can't remember that they say his name very often at all. Actually,
No.
I mean, it is mentioned in the movie, but it's not.
It's definitely mentioned. Yeah, like I
Yeah.
think like the head groundskeeper or whatever might have said his
Was
name
heavy
or something
Scottish
like that.
though accent? Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants him to go kill the golfers. He's all, if I kill all the golfers, who's not the golfers? All right, let's do the last round. It's quotes and details. All right, in this one, I'm gonna give you a quote. You give me the answer, or at least the detail related to it. So we'll start super easy. I don't even know why I'm going to ask this, but I'm going to anyway, just because it's on the list. All right, complete the line from The Princess Bride. All right, here we go. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya.
You killed my father, prepare to die.
There we go. Good
That
job.
was easy.
Yes, it was. I like to start you off super easy on a movie that you loved immensely. So
that was a softball. Thank you.
yeah, easily. All right, and war games. What game does the computer eventually conclude is impossible to win?
Tic-tac-toe.
No, dude, no. You even remember what war game's about? All right, here's the options, because that's not even an option. What game does the computer eventually conclude is impossible to win? Chess, nuclear war, global thermonuclear war, missile command.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was thinking, yeah, it was nuclear war. But no. I was thinking, remember they did tic-tac-toe.
So you're saying nuclear war?
Yeah. Global nuclear war.
Global thermonuclear war or nuclear war?
Fuck. Is there really a difference? Global thermonuclear
Yeah, the answer is totally different. I'm giving you the options. Okay. Which one? You said global thermonuclear war is what you came in? All right, correct. Good job.
But what's the difference between that and nuclear war?
That was just one of the game options.
Stupid. No, but what I thought you meant was what was the game that he put in there to make the computer realize that nuclear war was not winnable? To learn.
No, but that's not what the question was.
Didn't they do tic-tac-toe? I don't know.
He used tic-tac-toe to learn, yes, to learn, to realize that global thermonuclear war would never have a winner. That was the whole point.
All right.
All right.
That's why it popped in my head. And you're making me sound like that never happened in the game. So
it didn't. You're just crazy. All right. In National Lampoon's Vacation, what amusement park is the Griswold family trying to reach?
Hold on. Wally World?
There we go. Good. Yeah, I wasn't going to give you options. I feel like you should just know that one.
I should have known that, but it's one of those ones again. You can get just stuck and not remember.
All right. Last one. This is the final question. Now, put these movies in theatrical release order, earliest to latest.
Fucking. Okay.
All right. Here we go.
Fuck me.
The Breakfast Club, E.T., Die Hard, Ghostbusters. Which came first of those four?
I would say Die Hard was last.
Correct. I'll give you that. That's good. Yep.
I'm just trying to think of in an order that makes sense.
Sure.
I want to say E.T. would be first.
Correct. So you got the first and last. Now the question is Breakfast Club or Ghostbusters? Which one was second?
I'll say Breakfast Club.
Ooh, wrong, Bob. We're going to have to deny you the win there.
What were the years between them? Because I can imagine.
E.T. was 82. Ghostbusters was 84.
Right.
Breakfast Club was 85. And then Die Hard was 88. So, yeah, those two, Ghostbusters and Breakfast Club, was literally a year apart.
I think the Ghostbusters, Die Hard was the easiest one by far.
Yeah. Agreed.
And E.T. I think was
E.T. and Die Hard to me are the two easiest. Yep.
Yeah. I think because E.T. was just but I had no idea between Breakfast Club and Ghostbusters.
Well, that's it.
Obviously.
That's again the end of Let's Quiz Land. So good job there.
I really got to put some effort in and make sure that I do one for you because got to make you look as stupid as I look.
Oh, fantastic. That's good. Well, if you put some effort in, it's our 100th episode next week. Maybe you'll actually have something for me.
Okay.
My guess is no. I'm going to say no.
My guess is I'll forget and not do anything and then try to scramble last minute on Saturday morning to try to come up with something. But yeah, most likely that'll happen.
Exactly. So there we go. All right. And it's the quiz. Last topic that we can get into. Let's talk about, NFL is coming up, but I'm not going to worry about NFL right now. That starts in a month. Actually, just about a month is when the Hall of Fame game kicks off. So we got that going for us. That'll be fun. NBA is now kicked in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask about NBA. Where do you think LeBron is going? And how much do you think he's going to wait because he likes the attention on himself?
Well, he's definitely going to wait because he wants to be courted. He wants to feel loved and wanted is basically what it comes down to.
100%.
And he wants to feel like they need it. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of talk of teams that'll take him, like going back to Miami where he can play with Giannis and potentially have a chance, or going to Cleveland and bookend his career with Cleveland type scenario, which I don't see him going to Cleveland because that's so far from where his family's at in LA. And I don't think he's moving his family out of LA. But all his business ventures are there too.
Okay, but let's think about the reality. Just like any other person with his amount of money, that's irrelevant. I mean, he's a billionaire. I mean, him being able to go between cities is irrelevant.
Right, but I mean, it's getting back home and the distance it takes to get back home. It's a little bit harder from the East Coast to West Coast than being on the West Coast, which leads me to my point. Obviously, the Warriors was the other one that didn't talked about. The fact that he could play with Steph because of both of them. There's always that sort of it'd be cool to do type thing, and with Draymond also. And to be honest with you, the Warriors would be the easiest scenario for him because he could literally fly home after a game. To your point, if they have breaks in between, and be back home within like an hour.
He can live it.
No, within an hour, but it flies like an hour to get there.
Well, I mean, he can commute back and forth. Like it's like
he could, depending on the breaks between games and how much time they have. It's easier for him to get home.
I think he can also afford 2 homes, just out of I think he.
Well, why would he? I mean, his kids are in school. Why would he take them out?
No, I'm just saying he can afford to have a house up here to live up here.
To rent one, yeah, he could rent one. Yeah, of course, he could easily rent one.
He might have the money for it. I mean, even Bay Area is expensive, but I think he has.
No, if he lives in LA, he can live in the Bay Area. I mean, he could do either or. But to your point, so I think
where do you think he's going to go? Where do you think he's going to go?
Well, it's funny. I did really believe it makes sense for him to go to the Warriors because having him and Steph together would just be a fantastic run for this. And I think if they get to the playoffs, honestly, and they're healthy, those two could literally do some damage both inside and outside because they're still competing at a high level. They're not their elite level, but they're still higher than most players in the damn league.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
So I think they'd be good. But here, I just saw yesterday that Iguodala made a comment that, LeBron's interest to the Warriors is basically thanks to Curry's pull, which when I read that, I'm like, I understand what he's saying. It's like, the allure of playing with Curry because of how he plays is one reason why LeBron might want to go there. I'm like, if you start saying that, then LeBron's going to think people are going to start to realize he had to play with Curry because Curry's the only way he could win again versus So I don't know if Iguodala almost screwed the Warriors right now by making that comment. I understand his purpose, but that was an interesting comment, and it wasn't intentional. And he's not wrong. But
He's
it
not wrong,
also,
but
for
I
a
mean,
person who wants to be seen as the
he
GOAT and calls himself that, it's
is
hard
he is
for.
he
Yeah.
he's not going to, no matter what, when he went to the Lakers and even recently, even though Luka's the bigger star or bigger player right now, whatever you want to, however you want to put it, possibly the better
Well, the
player.
Lakers are making him the bigger star because he was the up and coming young star, and he's younger, and I get that.
But what I mean is, if he goes to the Warriors, he's going to Steph's team. He's not going
Anywhere
to
he goes, he's going to that team.
No.
Agreed.
What I mean is, he's gonna be seen, even though he's not gonna be the number one option anymore. He's just not. Even though he's better, if he goes to a team with Giannis or whoever, another superstar, he's not going to be as good as them at this point in his career. I mean, it's funny because when you talk about it with some LeBron fans, they almost still act like this is 2014 LeBron.
Mhm.
Where he's not that player anymore. He's just not. He's not better than Giannis at this point in his career. But the only team that he would go to that he wouldn't be seen, that it wouldn't be like, he's always gonna be overshadowed by Steph if he goes to the Warriors. Like there's no scenario where even if Steph went down or whatever, that he would go to the Warriors and it would ever be seen as his team.
I mean, that's my point. Any team he goes to, if he goes to Miami, it's Giannis's team, so he's joining Giannis. If he goes back to Cleveland, he's joining Cleveland's team, which isn't really his team. He's just being brought in as a secondary player.
But he's not gonna. But he's still gonna be LeBron on those other teams. Where in this team,
he'll be LeBron on the Warriors.
But he's just not going to be. It's not going to be the same intention for him. I think for him is the perception and his influence on the team. He's not going to be able to influence any other. He can still put his mark, his influence on any other team except for the Warriors. The Warriors
I 100% disagree. I disagree, and I'll tell you why. First and foremost, Steph proved when Durant came there that he's willing to make sure Durant gets just as much attention with the ball as he does. So when it comes to ability to play, LeBron will get just as much. If actually, he'll probably get more with the Warriors than he would because of the total respect of those players on that team would have for him versus other teams who just think he's an older guy. Great, he's LeBron, but we're not going to curtail to him. We're young. We want to do it all. Also, Steve Kerr coached him in the Olympics and understands the value there. I totally disagree that the Warriors are the worst team for him to go to.
I don't think the worst team for him to go to. I think the team that, even though he wants that other stuff that you talked about, and I agree with that, I just think that they're, with LeBron's ego, with how no matter what, he still thinks that he is smarter than everybody on the court. It's just some of the issues I've always had with him, that if he goes there, yes, I'm not saying that Curry and Curry is that constant teammate who, it's just who he is. And I'm not going to get into that, but I think that there is a hesitancy that LeBron might have in terms of going there and knowing that he has to just be.
I mean, he can beat LeBron. I'm not sure I understand where you're going with that, because maybe 5 years ago, 100% agree with you. 5 years ago, it never would have happened.
I think now you don't think it's part of the Lakers, and recently in part of the Lakers, that he didn't dictate how the team was ran, and that he didn't have issues with JJ and pushing back and thinking that I know better than everybody out on the court right now.
Well, no, I don't think he had issues with JJ. I don't think that was a problem, because remember, they did a podcast together before JJ got hired.
No, so I know. I'm just saying,
they were under the same mindset. Well, I think it's more about. And the Lakers needed to. They needed to move on. Like, they need to get younger. If they go and get Luka has to be the primary player.
Right.
And to your point, LeBron still thinks of himself as the man. But the reality is, I think he's also realistic too, that he wants to be competitive, which that would be one thing to consider about the Warriors. Are they going to be competitive? Right. I don't know. But he wants to still be, you're right, part of the limelight. And I think the story being told with Steph and LeBron joining teams late in their career is a story he'd like to see. I think that's where his mindset becomes like, this would be cool to get our fifth title together at our ages.
I don't disagree with
see if we can pull it off.
Really quick, last thing before we end. Do you think that if he wins the title, regardless of what team he goes to, that it changes the GOAT debate?
Not at all.
Just yes or no. Neither do I. I don't think it has anything to do with it at this point in his career.
Not at
Okay.
all. All right.
Cool.
Well, appreciate everybody listening this week. We'll be back next week with our 100th episode. Be sure to listen, and as always, share and like, and feel free to leave comments. Again, we're on Instagram under the Gen X Guys. We have our YouTube channel as well under that. And as always, you can catch our podcast everywhere. So we'll be back next week. And thanks again for listening. Everywhere. We're big in Vietnam right now. So we'll talk to you all later. Take care and have a great week.